Hello dear students and welcome to burmeselesson.com. This is our first introduction lesson, the sound of consonants. In this series of lessons, we will teach you the basics of Burmese language. So we will cover basic pronunciation with consonants, vowels and tones in Burmese. Then we will move on to basic grammar knowledge, like how do nouns, adjectives and verbs look and sound like in Burmese. We will even teach you what is the basic sentence structure, some new concepts like classifiers, and teach you about numbers. Once you will finish this series of videos, you will be able to move further and start learning to make small sentences by yourself. So watch those videos carefully and be ready to speak like a person from Myanmar. Oh, by the way, I am Haymar, one of your teachers, and you will see me or hear my voice often throughout our lessons. So let me start to introduce you the Burmese consonants. First thing you need to know is that there are 33 basic consonants in the Burmese alphabet, or should I rather call it abugida. Oh, what is that word? You're already thinking that I'm going too fast? Let me explain you the difference between alphabet and abugida. In an alphabet, consonants just have a consonant sound, whereas in an abugida, there is an inherent vowel sound with each consonant. So for example, the letter K in the Roman alphabet, when you pronounce it alone, it sounds like K, right? Then, if you take the first letter of Burmese abugida, Gaji, and you read it alone, you will read Ga. See, you get an inherent A sound. What is more is that all consonants written without any vowel characters can be words and have a meaning by themselves like Ga, which means to dance. But it can also be combined with vowels or special symbols to form other words. So all consonants will sound short and creaky with the inherent vowel A. When written by themselves, they have what we call a creaky tone. I will teach you more on that in the vowels lesson, since the tones in Burmese depends on the vowels. So, to make you more comfortable with Burmese sounds, I will list out of the 33 consonants for you and sound them out. I'll give you examples of sound based on the English language. But be careful, even though sometimes the sounds are the same, some of them are quite different. The examples in English are just approximations to help you sound the Burmese consonants out. Since there are many letters and I want to give you time enough to work on your pronunciation, we have divided this consonant lesson in 2 videos. This first part will teach you from Gaji to Naji. Ready? So let's start with consonant number 1, Gaji. That is pronounced Ga. It sounds something between the English K and the English G, like the K sound in category. But the best way to explain how it sounds is to say that it is an unaspirated K. Let me explain a bit. In English, K has an aspirated sound. In other words, air is coming out of your mouth when you say it K. Just try to say the same sound without air. Can you do that? Ga. Ga. Here is an example word. Ga, which means car. Okay then, let me just go to the second letter. I'll come back to the first one in a second for a small exercise. So the next one is Ka-kwe. That should be pronounced Ka, exactly like a K sound in English, like in cap. An example word could be Ko, which means pigeon. Now, do you hear the difference between those 2 letters? Let me give you a little exercise to help you out with that. Take a sheet of paper and say Ka. Ka. See, it's moving. This is Ka-gui, the second letter. Now let's try the same without puffing air out of your mouth. Ga. Ga. It didn't move. Perfect. Now you got Gaji, the first letter, not the heart after all. Okay, we still have 31 consonants to teach. Let's move on quickly. Next ones are easier. At least I hope. Third letter is Gange, pronounced Ga. It sounds the same as an English G, as in glue. In Burmese, wool is called gong. Fourth letter is gaji, pronounced exactly the same as the previous one, ga. Here comes an example using the letter gota, voiced sound. This letter is very seldom used in Burmese. The coming consonant is interesting. We have this sound in English, but as a final consonant, never as an initial sound. The consonant nga, pronounced as its name, nga, is a nasal sound that you have in English gerunds or nouns like ring or sing. Now here is an exercise for you again. Please first say singer. Singer, and now try to remove the first syllable nga. Nga. There you go. You got the sound of nga. For example, a word using this letter is nga. Nga. It means salty. Consonant number 6. Very easy. Salo. Pronounced sa. It sounds just like a S in English, like in sing. An example usage could be sa, which means letter. Then we have sale, which sounds very similar to salo, but should be more aspirated, like in sea, oil. However, since it is actually quite difficult to aspirate an S, there won't really be any difference between both in Burmese spoken language. The next two are pronounced the same. Sa. The sound is pretty much the same as z sound in zoom. These are sagwe, as in zone, spoon, and zamienzue, as in say, market. But that's pretty much the only common word we use it for. It's hardly used. Number 10 is nya, and we pronounce it nya. It sounds like NY in Kenya or in the beginning of Niagara. We have this letter in the word nyu, which means brown. The next 5 letters are rarely used in Burmese, but we still can find a few words in which we use them. Into this group, the coming 2 letters are similar, but same as the first 2 letters we learned. The first one is an aspirated, and the second one is aspirated. Let's listen. First, we have tatalinche, that we pronounce da. It is an aspirated T. To sound it out, try to say a T sound without puffing air out. You can try with a sheet of paper again. Da. Da. If you need a word in English to compare, it would be a bit like the T sound in star. We have this consonant in the word diga. Explanatory work. Second comes ta wombe, pronounced ta. It is an aspirated T sound, like an English T in true or tense. We use it for the word office in Burmese. Ta na. 13 and 14 have the same sound, da, exactly like the D sound in English for dream. The letters are called da yin gao and da yin mo. The first is used in the word da yin gao bin, edible species of climbing fern, and the second one is no longer used. Next is na ji, pronounced na. This consonant sounds like an English N, as in net. We use it in the word kanan, crab. Alright, that's all for this first lesson on the sound of consonants. Hope you could grasp some of the pronunciations already. Let me make a recap of the letters and sound that we have seen in the first part. Ga, ka, ga, nga, sa, sa, za, nya, da, ta, da, and the last one, na. If you want to listen to the sounds again and practice by yourself, all the consonant sounds are recorded and available on the website page. That's all for me today. It was Haymar for BurmeseLesson.com teaching you about the sounds of consonant. Thank you for watching. ကျေးဇူးတင်ပါတယ်